Hello humans of the internet, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lindsay, aka LiJo, and we are here with a video about savior functions. What we're referring to in this video are your first two functions, or if you're a jumper, if you know what that is, OP, check it out, your first and your third function. Your savior functions are those that you have default responsibility to, no matter how you look at it. All right, so let's get a nice little sensory example to get this whole idea moving in our heads, okay? So let's say you are friends with someone who is an SI savior, right? They say, gosh, no one helps me with cleaning this house and, putting all these dishes away. And when they put the dishes away, they are, putting them all over the place and, they're dropping them and no one puts the forks in the right spot. And so I always have to do it. Okay, what's happening here, right? What we're seeing is a representation of I am responsible for this. Now, they may say that, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? But at the end of the day, they're feeling the sense of weight and the responsibility for doing that thing. Now, if someone was not an SI savior, would they be ranting and raving and raging about how someone put the forks back? I mean, possibly in a peacocking state, but that would happen every so often and it'd be really weird and awkward. People with that savior function, let's say SI in this instance, they will say, if I'm not going to put the forks back in the right place, then who is going to put them back? I have to do it because nobody else here has that savior responsibility. All right, so let's apply that mentality to all the functions and give us a little bit of an overview of what it would look like for those functions to manifest in this savior capacity. Those with savior SC are going to be responsible for the real thing in reality. They're going to be responsible for having to gather the information, having to actually physically do it, get it done. Those with savior SC are going to feel the need of responsibility. I have to do it because it's my responsibility too. Savior SC is actually a great savior function to have if you have it. Savior NE is going to be responsible for coming up with like the crazy idea and the crazy thing that can maybe apply to a situation. They're going to feel that responsibility to be kind of creative and go off in a certain direction with no strings attached. They want to go off and find the idea because that is what seems most right to them. Savior SI is responsible for the system in reality. How things go, the logistics of things, the placement of the real world items, they are responsible for that. There is a right and a wrong way to do things with Savior SI because it is an organized, systematic way of doing things. And they are responsible to do it the way in which they deem is most correct. I do not have Savior SI as a savior function. The rules were meant to be broken when you are able to establish better rules that make more sense. So that's all I'm saying. NI is responsible for the completion of the vision. NI is going to be like, I know how these pieces should come together. I know the journey that these things need to go on down, and I'm responsible to make sure that that happens that way. I can't unsee or unknow what I know it could be or what it should be. So I'm responsible for making it happen in that direction until it actually happens. Savior FE is responsible for what is important to others. What do other people like or dislike? What do they value? What makes them laugh? Like their state of emotion? FE feels responsible for managing the temperature of those things. What do people love? What are people into right now? Ask a Savior FE. And they feel the sense of responsibility to make sure things are carried out in a manner that respects that external value of other people. All right, Savior TE, they are responsible for what works for others, what makes sense as it relates to the outside world. If you're designing apps for grandpas and grandpas can't get their fingers to go on the buttons because the buttons are too small, TE is going to be like, whoa, slow down. This doesn't work for this audience, therefore it does not work. It might make sense to you, but obviously it doesn't make sense in how it will be applied with this other integration of another human. So therefore it does not work. Does this thing and this thing work together? Well, this thing alone works and this thing alone works, but when you work them together, it doesn't work as much. So therefore it does not work. We have to find one that does work with this other integration. All right, those with Savior FI, they are going to be responsible to the things that they value, what is most important to them. They are responsible to do what they love, to follow their heart. And when they are pulled away to do things for the tribe or others that pull them away from that, that sense of themselves, it's uncomfortable and they don't like it. They are responsible to do the thing that is true to them with the FI. And last but certainly not least is savior TI, who is responsible to the things that make sense to them. They want to know, well, what is logical for me? What makes sense for me? And that will be the path of the thing that I need to do. And that whole experience of the extroverted world, because on the coin they have FE, right? So the value of what's important to people, they understand that, but it's going to be so draining for them, what people love and whatever, and going on board with everyone else. And they're just going to be like, no, I want to do what makes most sense for me to do for myself. This is what logically makes sense in my life's path. So that is my very generalized overview of the 8 functions in their savior state. Again, it is where they are feeling most responsibility. And at the end of the day, if you're questioning any of this in yourself or in another person, one thing you can think about is, who has the final call? And when I say who, I'm referring to a function here. Who is the final call in this situation? Is it what that person wants, the DI, or is it what the external world is requiring, the DE? That's going to help you determine the savior state of those functions. Who has the final call here? The abstract plan, where this is going, or the physical reality? The N versus the S. So I hope this overview was useful, kind of quick, efficient way to understand how you can observe functions in their savior states. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Would like to see you join our internet family, and I will see you in my next video. So have a good one, internet fam. You're the good ones out there. All right, bye.